Welcome back to Automation, a game of gears and graphs, production and pie charts, and this big screen with squares. We've started Castle Motors in the previous episode, our fledgling car company. Successfully grew from having a small factory and no money to selling cars and not being bankrupt. We almost have enough money to take out the loan for a medium-sized factory. This will be a big deal for us because it will allow us to make steel presses and steel and properly mass produce our cars instead of hand building them, which is less than ideal for us since we've set out with the goal of selling to the off-road segment. Most of our sales are actually in heavy delivery with our tower, I believe is the car. Now, before we actually replace this, I want to unlock a new body, and that's going to take us a few years, even with some R&D I've put in. So it's about time that we made an upgrade. The big thing we've unlocked that makes me want to go ahead and replace these cars is the automatic transmission, which I've learned almost everyone in every market loves automation. It'll be a big upgrade for us. We're probably not going to make a lot of manual transmission cars ever after this. So we're going to replace our old 4-speed manual with a miserable 2-speed automatic. They like it a little bit more. I think I need to adjust the gearing. Well, that's only a small improvement, but we will see how much the other trim likes it. I also should go ahead and replace the engine with the 1952 version here. We've got slightly better at everything, so our engine will be slightly better. I'm just going to play around and see what I can improve. Fuel system's already at a massive +8 quality. I don't think we can afford much more. Reverse flow mufflers, just too fancy for this crowd. Sticking with baffled, so our engine can sound old. Not sure that really comes through in the sound, but it is old. In fact, I think we can up our top RPM here. To make it slightly easier to drive. That's almost all it's going to change. They also like much narrower tires, which helps it to understeer more, even if there's some wheel spin. Ah yes, 2-shoe drum brakes. Still doesn't mean I can take away the sports brake pads that are on my van, because the brakes in this era still suck. And not much else wild to change here. I'm going to not re-engineer safety. They would like it more, but it's just not worth paying the cost of the engineering for that all over again. I've already engineered advanced 40s, so that's what this model's going to get. And I think I've neglected, because I wasn't sure if I was going to go bankrupt really early on, to make us a company paint color. See what I can come up with. Is it ugly? Oh yes, it's Brick gray. What better shade of paint for our Castle Motors cars? Now, everything I've changed, I just have to go over and repeat it for the other vehicle and the other engine variant. If you recall, we actually have a massive size difference in engines. The delivery guys like fuel economy more, so you underboard it as much as possible. Severe issues with wheel spin. Making our transmission a 2-speed automatic will probably make that go away because we'll be delivering less power to the wheels. A 3.8 liter 1952 version of our engine. I think almost all I changed that. One tick of compression. The other engine. We're not even hitting top horsepower because they want it revving as low as possible for that big fat reliability score. I think we're using push rods. We'll probably get we could get a +1 quality on that, but it doesn't really make a difference. We don't need to rev it higher. And now let's set this car up with an automatic transmission. Oh, they actually don't prefer that. The 4-speed gets us a lot better setup here. What if I mess with the numbers, though? Yeah, no, they like it the way it is. And despite the big red flashing warning about wheel spin, they actually only like it if they get more wheel spin. And more, and more, and more, and more, and more. Nope, that's too much. 31% wheel spin. I guess you're absolutely relying on having cargo in the back to even handle this thing. But that's pretty competitive, I like it. They want narrower tires? They don't. Even though it's not too easy to drive, it's kind of oversteery. I gotta get the drum brakes. Even the pads where they are. And suspension. Not even touching that, actually. Well, hold on. I think I should, let's get another paint color going. That Castle Gray is for our flagship delivery series. And I think, some kind of awful clay brown should do well for our utility vehicles. Alright, that's our truck. Now it's an appropriately ugly brown for 1952. Let's get that tray brown too. Much better. Trim it isn't plastic, it's steel. That's I'm not gonna go and do all the fixtures, but that's much more appropriate. Alright, 1952 version. Now the whole procedure with the factories again. I think I should upgrade it. I don't want too much downtime, just move the small 4-month delay. And figuring out what I can afford with these sliders. Ooh, a recall percent is down to 0.1. That means I can basically cut out the QA because my expert Beijing workers make no mistakes. That means I get more vehicles for cheaper once again. $39 months with most of that coming from the automatic transmission. Now I'd say that's not really worth it except I'd love to build up some familiarity, so when I develop a new car with automatic, it'll be a little faster to do. What's the engine mag? Right? Sorry, the engineering on the engine. No real change to the factory, shouldn't be overworked. Oh man, I'm gonna have to get a convention factory with the Model 2. Ah, right, I'm still making these on contract. Let's take the pressure down. Tooling up. Probably gonna keep using these, so that would benefit me. I'll fine-tune that a little bit, but I want to see how much time can I save here. 40 months is a lot for such a small change. Oh, I'll spend money. Don't need super minimum funding since I have an actual income source now. It's slightly sloppy on the tooling. Even the reliability, they love reliability, but I can afford maybe to have a little less. Get it done in 30 months. Should be acceptable. Make sure the engine also gets done in exactly 30 months. And I have no idea how to price anything anymore. But, oh, not 600% margin. 60% margin. I'll just start there and see what happens. That's gonna cost 20 million. I won't take out a loan for it. And that should tide us over for a little while. Sales of the original version of our car going steady, while pre-orders are beginning to trickle in for the new version. In fact, I'm gonna need I'm 8 months deep in pre-orders. I won't have to pay that back. I need to change the price of my delivery cars again. Oh no, it's this menu breaks when you make a new trim. Someone on the Discord mentioned that. I guess after I fire off the engineering here, the price of these is not going to get to change. What about my marketing? Can I spend more on marketing? Currently spending... that adds about 400,000. Almost all my cars are selling at Gasmian, so that's where I want to spend the money. Let's do some off-road marketing. That seems pretty cheap to do. I think it's based on the size of the demographics or something. Spend a little more cash. We're going to be selling more cars, so I need to build up my dealerships, market awareness, and everything. Speaking of which, how are we doing on market awareness? And focusing on Gasmia only, since we don't sell as much in Hypatia. We're at quickly growing, thanks to my advertising and sales, but 14 going on 15% of people are aware of my vehicles and my main areas, delivery, heavy utility. And that's 14% of 16,000, which means 2,000 people are aware of my brand. That's pretty good. Oh, suddenly we're losing money. Constructing the 8 million taxes paid. Yuck. Constructing our factories. But my credit rating's only going up. The valuation's going up. And now that that's built, even more income's coming in. That's good. That's going to supplement us while we design and build factories for our next model. Just going to wait until the start of 1955. So I'm about to unlock radial tires in 0 months. I think that means I have to wait 1 month to actually use them. Gotta have radial tires. They're just a vast improvement in every aspect. Really, it's almost like cross-plies might as well not be in the game to penalize you early on. Even though in real life they were still used for a while. They're in automation, they're just miserable. So let's see if I've unlocked the body I want yet. New car project. Call it targeting, heavy delivery. Off-road's what I want to aim for. That's what we all voted on. That's the point of pride for our company. But yes, this is what I want. Now, smaller wheelbase is better for actual off-road use, but the bigger wheelbase is what I want for delivery and stuff. I might compromise at the 2.8 meter. Get all three versions and get a van, get an SUV, get a pickup. In fact, that reminds me. Nope, Utility Premium, Utility Sport Premium, they don't exist yet. They will. They will by the time these vehicles come out. Probably our first facelift will start making... start thinking about making some premium trims. So what do I want? 2.8, 3 meters? It's a tough decision. I'll characterize all my vehicles. I'm for 2.8s. That's my compromise. These things are still massively wide anyway. Steel. Ladder frame. Only the left side of the graph here will even tolerate ladder frame. Everyone else hates it. We're going off-road. Galvanization plants. Is that worth it? Nah, that'll come later. It's a bit of a disappointment. You can't change your car from using steel to using galvanized steel without completely redesigning it from the ground up. Double wishbone, solid axle leaf. The most complicated and expensive suspension in the front, and the absolute cheapest in the back. It is the mullet of car suspension arrangements. I think that's appropriate for our company's image. Now, I'm just going to, once again, update the drawbridge engine. Even though it's been 3 years. That's enough time to make improvements. Do I want to base around the small version or the big version first? I'll base around the big version first. The 1955 version, or 3.8 liter, inline 6, is inline 6, right? I didn't forget, yeah. Big, long, ugly guy. Oh, red arrow, it's too long for front-wheel drive. Actually, disconcertingly, it's too long for 4x4. We might need to make a new engine if you want to sell these with 4x4s. That's, not wonderful. In fact, what if I were to just... Would the engine no longer be too long for 4x4? It would no longer be too long for 4x4. Alright. May as well start with the delivery version, I think. Was that what I picked in the markets? I don't know. But rear-wheel drive, automatic, 2 speeds, open diff, no, manual lockers. Give it that off-road capability. Radials in hard long life, and not so wide tires. .185s. That looks about right. The big drum brakes. Off-road skid tray, maximum cooling airflow. Basic none interior. No power steering because it just doesn't exist yet. And the best safety we can get. Oh, and progressive springs. Did I put progressive springs in the update of the last truck? If I didn't, I really should have. But that lets it carry, like, yeah, about exactly twice as much weight. See the difference on the right there when I change it. Okay. And as usual, the default suspension tune is abysmal, so give me a moment here. Not too happy with this. I might have to try it again later. Brakes could use some more oomph. A lot more oomph. And they like them with 50-50 bias. That's as much as you can put on the rear. And they like it on the rear because that's where the cargo is. Narrower tires make the car more understeery, but they also don't help with the wheel spin situation. That's a bit of a tricky one, and the profile is just massive. I guess they like a massive profile. Across a certain line, the wheel spin jumps all at once from 19% to 29%. So that's my limit for wheel size. Or if they'd like a little bigger wheels. Because it'll let me get bigger brakes. Oh, they don't even want the bigger brakes. But they do with softer pads. Guess that's the sweet spot where the price to braking works out. In fact, we're even making enough brake power to get above the amount of grip, lock the brakes. Good, good. Gearing, right. Top speed of 56 miles per hour, maybe not a good speed to gear the car to. If I get the vehicle up to 75 miles an hour, I'm pretty sure what's happening. You can see the gas mileage change from 14.3 to 12.8. I believe that's a somewhat weird thing that happens. Where, yeah, it has a gas mileage at 75 miles an hour. And the gas mileage is so much better if the car never goes 75 miles an hour. Because presumably then they'll spend the whole time at 56 miles an hour. And not at 65, getting a worse gas mileage than they would have if the car had a higher gearing. But that's the thing you have to do in automation. Reduce the top speed of the car to sort of make the gas mileage better, allegedly. Maximum wheel spin. Starting to run out of tweaks here. Oh yeah, get a little steering quality on there. You have no power steering. The costs very little to upgrade the quality of that steering rack. I like it. Now the engine. They like that. One more cam profile. I'm not sure exactly what the change is there. It was knocking before. I don't have a warning for it, but they like that. There's a lot of that goes on. One little tick, big change up here. Why? Stats aren't telling me, but I know they like it. So that's the car I'm going to sell them. It's the one they want. Customer's always right. Customer says 17 cam profile is far better than 16, then who am I to tell them wrong? And then as you get higher cams, it's all less fuel efficient, so I don't like that anymore. Ooh, do they want a leaner fuel mixture and less power? I'll just switch to that variant. The 2.6 liter, 1955. It's already leaned out for them, right, because that's what they like. So we have a score of 140. That means theoretically our vehicle is 40% better than the average top 3 cars on the market. Give them a little more ignition timing with the octane room I've got. And that's all that really needs to change. They don't like quiet mufflers. Okay. And our delivery vehicles are going to be in the classic brick gray. Ooh, with a stripe of white somewhere. What paint's doing that with the white stripe? Not the bonnet, primary car, secondary car. See, that's a weird thing. This says plastic, but it highlights the red here, so clearly it's that. A little stripe of white. That's the paint color from our failed No Money Motors Corporation. Also, the wheels are really set in there. I wonder if they like some offset. It's about the same to them, but it looks better to me. That's probably taken a lot of roll angle out, though. Yes, it has. Which is fine. I can take sway bar out. You know who needs sway bars anyway. I get some height on that. They're at 1.5 tons capacity. Watch it go up and make this a 2-ton truck. Oh, they don't actually like that as much. A little short of 2 tons seems to be the market optimal. I'd love to be able to call it the 2-ton, but 1,900 kilograms is what this can carry, I guess. And that's looking pretty competitive. I'm happy to put that in production. So that's our delivery vehicle. Now the utility version. And the interesting part will be the SUV trim later. I don't know what they like as much. Utility gets a 3.8 liter full fat version of the engine. And just go ahead and pop that over to pickup truck. Oh, that's awful. Make it all brown. Brown trucks, that's what we sell. Okay. And we're looking at a utility score of 206. It's twice as good as what's on the market right now. Because presumably, nobody's even selling a truck with 4 solid axles. Now, utility does not prefer 4x4, they prefer gas mileage. We can keep the automatic. They want top speed, they do not. They want the shortest gearing, regardless of insane wheel spin numbers. Oh, there's a weird situation. As my top speed reduces, wheel spin suddenly flips to 0, like magic. That's, some kind of rollover bug, I guess. Oh no, don't tell me. Oh, automation markets, why do you do this to me? Yes, the optimal top speed for our truck is 57.7 miles per hour, making 12.5 miles to the gallon. Oh, that's horrible. I don't even know if I feel good taking advantage of that. Let's maybe give it a little more realistic. Before the wheel spin all goes away. It's not like I need to go 240 instead of 210 competitiveness. Anything else I can improve? Do they have wider tires? Oh, yeah. Tires are so narrow that it's horribly understeering now. Probably don't want them any shorter. $175's around the money. Now they say they actually like those more. I don't understand it. That's not as drivable. What's better about the 165s? They're $20 cheaper, 4 kilograms lighter, 0.1 miles a gallon better. They're actually better at off-road stat. They're kind of like narrow tires for that, and apparently better at utility, which I don't really understand why the narrower tires are better, and a lot less drivable. But they don't really care if the truck's decent to drive, I guess. I'll see if I can make up for that in the suspension tuning. Even stiffer brakes than our delivery vehicle. Of course, it's also making it a little more expensive. See the affordability falling off. As I was selling like a couple hundred trucks to a market of, 12,000 buyers before, I could afford to sell trucks to only the most wealthy 10% or whatever. But now I wanted them to be a little more affordable. Like interior quality? I suppose they do. Not too expensive to make your basic interior good quality. Gives you slightly more reliable outcome here. I'll probably do the same on the other version. And let's take out some sway bars to make it a little less horribly understeer. Yes. No sway bars at all. They don't like sway bars. Don't want them, don't need them. Soften the front suspension. That brings up a little bit. Rear suspension can't get any harder than this. This is the wonky graph we're left with. I guess if you if you put a full load into it, then it still makes the back slouching down. So this stiffer rear suspension is just a compromise on the middle of that. And it gets about 1900 kilograms of cargo capacity, much like our other vehicle. Let me go ahead and put the little +2 interior quality on before I forget. Really looking forward to that feature where you can make modifications that affect all trims of model at once when you press something. It was teased in the latest automation feature video. Alright, now it's time. I'm going to base it off of the utility version because that's a big engine. It's time to see if we can make a proper off-road vehicle. Now, off-road prefers the SUV body type, 2 to 5 seats. And the off-road stat is the most important by far, with the second being reliability. We should be good for that since we have a very simple design here. Let's get the 4-door version of the SUV in, not the 2-door. I don't think there's really a benefit to that. And we're at 102 in off-road before any tuning. That's a sign this is probably pretty viable. So now I'm just going to play around with it. Ah, God, the 0% wheel spin is back. Ugh. See if I can just make a car that doesn't take advantage of that bug, though. The change in weight distribution means I'll have to change the suspension because we are terminally oversteering. Thing handles horrible. They don't like getting extra seats, of course. Pony budget. It's a cheap muscle car. Yes, that's about correct. They like better quality seats, but not a radio. They like the bench seat in the back, which is kind of a rare thing for automation cars. But I guess we have a very spacious cabin. Yeah, off-road does not like any sway bars, which makes it a little harder to control this thing. But if I just even out the suspension a little bit, that it doesn't put our steering chart on a maximum drivability. We're at a 90% modifier to drivability. But it does at least stop it from terminally oversteering. Giving us an off-road score of 121. Until I make it even taller. 10-degree roll angle, that's like problematic. Oh, but they'd like to have even more. Yeah, it's just the mushiest suspension is ideal, I suppose, for rock crawling. We're trying to control the vehicle's tendency to tilt with really stiff shocks. I guess those don't matter if you're going slow when you're trying to get up the rocks or whatever, but funky graphs. This seems to be where it maxes out. We ended up with not too bad a penalty to comfort or drivability. It's at 103%. And they still wouldn't rather add any sway bars, so we're selling this car that has a roll angle. I'm not entirely sure what that stat means. I'm assuming it's how much the car rolls when it's making its maximum cornering G of 0.6 in this case.
11.4 degrees. I went to an autocross once with somebody who took the sway bars out of their Crown Vic. They didn't intend to race it, but they had a friend whose car broke down and they wanted to race. So they put it in, and that thing looked like it was going to roll over. I'm pretty sure that's what 11.4 degrees roll angle is. 14 miles to the gallon, it's appropriately 1950s for a supposedly economy tuned engine. Well, the last thing I can do is I can see if there's any engine changes I can make that help off-road tuning. Don't want richer fuel. Do want ignition timing. They too like the 1 degree higher camshaft, or whatever it is. And not a lot of wild changes to make. They mostly like the same stuff our other vehicles do. So I'm going to keep this. I'm not going to make a special off-road version. I'm just going to make this the only 3.8 liter version of the engine. So there it is. We'll have to name these things. So our previous model was the tower. What feature of a castle would best describe our new massive rectangular cars? But not a brick, because I don't think people will buy a car named a brick. It's it would be the funniest thing if there was a sneaky hidden modifier to look for keywords in the names for marketing. That's it's a terrible idea, to be honest, but you almost wonder why people are just, so happy to buy the, Model 2 replacement. I can't imagine going to the dealership and hearing, yes, this is the Model 2 replacement. Compared to the replacement, it's got 2 better miles to the gallon. Alright, Portcullis. There's a name, and the ever so imaginative delivery, utility, off-road, and the sign-off year is 1955. Now I have to plan out some factories. Let's see, so far, did I have my factory in Asia? I had my contract in Asia. I think my starting factory was actually in Gazmia, because that's just where my starting country was, and all my plots are there. It's not the optimal thing to do. You can see that Gazmian workers have the highest labor cost in the game, but they're not as skilled as Hetvasian workers, which, is it possible that this represents the game developer's home country? But then again, if it's supposed to be like Germany, I don't know if I can really argue that American stuff is actually better made. But, just for pride, these will be made in Gazmia. That's what's going to be stamped on them. Even though it costs us more and the build quality is not quite as good. We'll get steel presses, that'll get us 221 million. Oh wow, I feel like it's got more expensive. And I shouldn't go for any add-on facilities yet. I'm already pushing my budget. Sliders. So many combinations, don't know where to start. I'll fast forward this. See that QA slowdown is 30%. That's really eating into our costs. And it's going to bottom out at 20%. So when I get the money, I'm going to want to get a QA facility and cut that in half. But, I have to put it up high. If I have recalls, that's not good for my brand. Should have made a color separate for the off-road vehicle. Maybe I still will later. Car factory 2. Brilliant. And we're looking at 5 years to make this sucker? That's perfect. Well, I guess I can try and cut it down, but no, it's not worth it. 20 million engineering costs. If I get that up higher, 30. Maybe I can't afford 10 more million. And I'll get a little more tooling, a little more reliability. 5 years. Should be great cars. Oh. And the old contract, that's not gonna happen anymore. No. We need to get our own engine factory. And that's gonna be an expensive part too. Baden Gasmia. Buy a medium plot. Probably put a small engine factory on it. Ooh, is that gonna be enough? 900 engines? Oh, graph says it's just on. So if I make a little improvements to that, we should be okay. Let's see. If I have 5 years, I can really crank those sliders. Yes, these are highly optimized engines now. Even though it's the same design, it's compatible backwards and everything. We'll have a lot more reliability. We're making them much cheaper too. Our factories are designed very efficiently. Or they're designed very efficiently to be made in our factories, rather. And let's see. Oh, actually, that's not enough, is it? Because that's assuming the contract is still open. I don't want the contract open. Let's see. Can I get enough engines with some more automation slider? The efficiency is not bad, increasing the automation, because I've got it in the engineering as well. Before it spends more millions. But I need that QA threshold too. Just barely. If I want to supply these same engines to my other cars, that could be a problem. Now here's the thing I don't remember how to do. I think there's a way to have this contract keep on making the old version of the engine. Maybe I'll just hope it's going to do that. Cross my fingers, don't go bankrupt here. Now how much to charge? I think a 60% margin. What's that at what? 13k, 13k. Is that a reasonable price for our budgets? Off-road, median, less than 13, more than 13, more than 13. Yeah. Just gonna start it off at a 60% margin and see what it does. And 5 years. Now, will they give us the loan? No. Yeah, this could be the part where I'm biting off more than I can chew again. Well, I can only get a loan for half the amount. Pay that back over the course of forever. And I'm gonna hope that the sales of my existing trucks make up for it. Go big or go home. Wouldn't be a fun Let's Play to watch me do it conservatively and be absolutely certain that I have reasonable prices. Oh shit, the tower down here. Speaking of reasonable prices, let's get that up to 75% margin again. So the money is coming in, and yeah, over the course of 5 years, if I'm still making $4 million a month, I should completely pay for the factory, in fact. And the loan is just a cushion. Of course, I say that, I don't know if suddenly the competition is going to start competing with me. They haven't been so far, but I suppose they still could. Engine Factory 1 is being overworked. What a shock. And with my 4 million coming in, I can afford to spend a little more on driver assist. Do I want those to be better? Yeah, drivetrain. Definitely need to get more speeds on my transmissions. Spend a bit more on that. research, marketing. It's going to be a long time before any other countries unlock. That's the one downside of Gasme. You have the biggest country, but the other three are closed off to you for a long time. I really start building up my brand, get the company reputation marketing going, get that off-road, fuel economy, reliability, utility. That's a big cut into my income, but I'm hoping it'll be worth it. Meanwhile, checking out the tower, the 1952 trucks are still deeply pre-ordered at a 75% margin. The delivery, let's make it, I'm scared to like entirely price it out of the market, but 85%. Keep charging more. Our factory, we've made it bigger, but it just can't keep up with demand. Income's only increasing. Pre-orders only increasing. These trucks are apparently a good deal at, let's see what. I'm selling them to dealerships for $20,000. The dealerships tacking on $5,000, $6,000. That means that we're at... Yeah. Supposedly, the maximum heavy delivery can pay is around $22,000 if I'm reading this right, but someone's buying them. Actually, no, I could take... My Hethasia's just not even poorer. They're not bringing my averages down. Where's my sales going? Still mostly heavy delivery. Also, regular delivery has an even lower budget. Apparently they're just willing to buy cars outside of their budget. There must be really no one competing. I'm making some sales into off-road and utility too, just with my van and pickup. They're buying it even though it's not an SUV. They'll be eating up their actual SUVs like hotcakes. Years go by. Getting disc brakes. Get another speed on the automatic transmissions. Can unlock transverse engines. I think I'll probably not be using those much. And my factories are now under construction. Our credit rating's getting horrible, and we're spending far more than we're making every month. And I'm apparently, oh god, 17 months deep in... That's weird. I'm selling far more of the utilities, even though I think I'm making a smaller margin on them. Yeah, I am. I know I was preferring to do that. Almost the entirety of my tower factory is making utility vehicles, even though I have massively unfulfilled pre-orders for delivery. Are they making pre-orders and then, like, not purchasing the cars? 17 months worth of pre-orders. That's not good. Yeah, deliver to 4. Pre-order change 130. We fulfilled 11,500 pre-orders. But I'm going to have to pay back in... What's this? 8 months? 10 months? That could be a problem. Okay, pal. $24,000. Fuck you. It's expensive now. Charging movie theater popcorn prices for these trucks. Delivered 3, still getting more pre-orders. Oh, that's going to be problematic. Affordability ratio 1%, 0%. Yeah, I bet. The average competitor price in heavy delivery is $8,000, but apparently people would still like to buy these. The factory utilization is 50%. But I have pre-orders to fulfill! Why are you slowing down when I have pre-orders to fulfill? I can only assume that the way this works is that they're making the pre-orders, or they already made them when the truck was cheaper, and since I changed the price, they can't actually take delivery of them. So the inevitable consequence of my price gouging is in fact going to be that I must pay them back for their pre-orders. Ugh. And we are getting... Oh, not good. So we have enough money to finish our factory. I'm not sure how much damage this is going to do to me. I'm down to 48 million. The valuation of the company is negative 152 million. I have an F credit score. So if my cash drops in the negative for like a second, I'm going to be screwed. And if I drop in the negative because I have to pay back 13 months pre-orders, or, well, I guess I don't have to pay them back because I'm not replacing that truck. Oh, and somehow they're finally doing their thing. I don't know if it's because of deliveries from the engine factory or what. I have 12 million coming in, and everything's fine. That was a couple of brown pants months there in the boardroom. But this is it. We've made it. The medium factory is operational. We are now a real car manufacturer, not a garage startup. It's only taken us 14 years and hundreds of millions of dollars. But those trucks are just flying off the dealership lots. I think my price isn't too bad, although the getting up there a little bit. They're not very affordable, but apparently they're highly competitive, except for the off-road, which is selling equally well. Supposedly, yeah, that's weird. There's supposed to be better delivery utility competitors. I assume what's going on here is that there's better competitors for off-road at 71%, but they're not manufacturing enough of them to fulfill demand, so it doesn't actually matter. Dealerships making a 20% margin. They're happy. Now, how is my sales data looking? See, it doesn't increase much when I turn on Aphasia. It's mostly still within Gasmia. Selling 863 heavy delivery market, 572 delivery. So that's still the bulk of my business is going to delivery cars. Utility is second, runner-up. Off-road budget. Even utility budget somehow buying some of my vehicles. Despite that they have a maximum price of like $9,000. And kind of see the effects of not having enough cars. One buyer who came to the dealership looking for a convertible budget car walked away with one of my trucks. I don't know which one. So I can see what's the most competitive truck. The off-road version, the SUV. Yeah, sure. 17 family budget. Family utility budget makes a little more sense. The SUV is a logical family utility vehicle. Actually, I'm selling more to family utility than off-road. It's the percentage here tells me it's a small portion of the market share, but it's a bigger market, so they're buying more cars. There's guess I'm starting the SUV family car trend about 50 years ahead of time. 64 pony cars. I guess that's not completely outrageous. Big engine, rear-wheel drive, good acceleration. I think my trucks actually have those. Muscle. A few sport budget, because there's not a lot of competition. City budget. Ah, yes. I have to go through the little narrow Italian streets, or Floridian streets, and I am poor. So I need a small, efficient car. I think I'm gonna get the portcullis. Sign me up. Well, now that we are actually selling these cars, it's now in 1961, 6 years after we started making the portcullis, or started engineering the portcullis, which means all our design decisions are 6 years out of date, and they can be that much better. So before I close off here, I think I'm going to design a facelift for the portcullis, the 1961 version. That's, of course, I guess, our dealership's internal name. Or not dealerships, our company's internal name for them. Because when they come out, they'll be the 1964 or something model. How much has our engine tech improved? Probably not much. It might be time to start thinking about making an overhead cam engine instead of a push rod. But I'm sure they do like the reliability. Ooh, the car's weight and lack of power steering reduces its drivability and comfort. I think that's the game's way of telling me that power steering is unlocked. I can compare it if I want to the 1955 version. We're making just a little more horsepower, a little more fuel efficient, actually a lot more reliable from just changing the gear of the engine. That's the one they really care about. That's why it's such a big jump, I bet. And cancel comparing. But yeah, here we are with a good engine. 3-speed automatic. Much better. Disc brakes. Yeah, I don't care for them. Sure, they stop a little better, but drum brakes doing well enough and they're more reliable. Yeah, it takes a whole mile per gallon off, too, of the gas mileage. But that'll be in there. Everybody's getting power steering, I'm sure. Utility. 3rd speed? They hate it. Because it means that the lowest gear is too low. Now, I could reduce the spacing, but arbitrarily, this hurts the utility stat. Now, I think the logic in wide gear spacing helping utility is that your lowest gear is very low, and so on and so forth. But they still want it spaced out as much as possible, even when the lowest gear is in fact too low. So it's like they want the gears to be lower and lower, but they also want it not to wheel spin. It's weird. They just prefer 2-speed for now. Standard interiors? It's not worth enough. I like it slightly more, the standard interior, but it's less affordable. The off-road. You want 3 speeds? Because it's based on the top speed of the utility vehicle. It's the same monstrous wheel spin. We got a critical point where the gearing at some specific speed crosses over and the gas mileage goes up. And they like it again. With a top speed of 95 miles an hour. That helps prestige too, which they care a little bit about. No one cares if their delivery truck is prestigious because they're doing it for work. The off-road car can be seen in by your friends. Power steering, 0 quality. Boop. Oh, I have 200 million in the bank. I can make our factory better. So going to medium 2 cost me too much. But QA testing is only going to cost me an additional 35 million. So I'm getting a QA testing facility add-on. That's going to help me make a lot more cars. 22 months we're looking at, and most of that's from the driver assist. That includes the hydraulic power steering. So I'm looking after engine changes. The engine factory, that's time to make it a medium 1. That's going to cost us a lot. It's costing more than the other factory upgrades. But it means I'll have more than enough engines. See, our brand's got a great reputation going so far. I think 22 at this point in the campaign's not bad. Our prices are lower since we're not tooling the factory for the first time. Still want to sell them for around 13,000 maybe. Makes an 85% margin. I feel like that's a lot more than most manufacturers would be making on a car like this. But it is what it is. And the forecaster says that in version 4.0 of the campaign, this would also be good prices. Which probably means they're too low, but I guess we'll see. And do I need a loan for this? Total cost $215 million projected. Yeah, let's get another $40 million in a loan. Just in case things go haywire. I don't want to screw up at this point. We're already well into this. Okay, so next time, we will see how the new version of the portcullis is doing. And we need to figure out what we're going to replace the tower with. That's a bit of a tricky one. Ideally, it should still make use of our 6-cylinder engine, although it may be time to think about replacing that. But it's gotta be aluminum body panels, which means it's higher priced and not a great choice for, off-road. Maybe some kind of off-road premium, which incidentally, we're just starting to sell into utility premium. The market just came into existence like yesterday. But let me know what you think we should use our small factory for. Or I could just let it make towers until it breaks down. That's always an option.